All right. So, those two prior reviews have led me to this. This guy. This one guy was the one that made me want to pick up the additional two. I need more large figures. And this guy isn't 6 inch. He isn't a 6 inch figure. All right, if I could just get that out. He's more of like a 6.5 inch figure. He's larger than your average 6 inch figure. But to put it in context, if any of you are familiar with the Build-A-Figure Odin, or even like the Marvel Legends Thor, the recent one that came out, I think maybe like a couple of years ago, maybe like a year ago, he's on scale with that. As a matter of fact, all right, so here's a size comparison. Now, this is the Build-A-Figure Odin, which I'm sure you all are probably familiar with, and this is this guy. So on a size comparison, he's actually pretty big, and I'm cool with that. And I realize the way I structured that, but which is nice because he looks like he fits into their world. And when you do toy photography, especially when you do battles like I do, you want to have more figures that you can feed to guys like Odin. Someone that he can beat up on without having to have him destroy named characters like Spider-Man or Superman or The Flash, for example. So he's good for that. All right, so back to review. This guy is Garruk, wildspeaker. Let me just pan up, check out the box. Magic the Gathering Legacy Collection, number 2. Excuse me. This guy is the second in the line of Magic the Gathering, of the first series of figures. He's right after that guy, Jace, if that video loads. Once again, I don't know. I may have to do that video over. Originally, when this guy came out of the box, he came with this this wolf skin with spikes sticking out of it, which I'm sure you can probably see. Which you can probably see where the knobs were, right, to pull it off. Well, I'll pull it off so that way I can get some articulation out of the guy. He looked really good with the wolf pelt on. He also had a shoulder piece that I pulled off here. But he looked really good with it on, but couldn't move. And that goes back to an issue that I have expressed in the prior 2 videos. With the thing on his back, it made him more of a statue and not so much a figure. And as I've also stated, retail price, these guys go for $19.99 retail. And in my opinion, they're not worth it. I got these guys at the grocery outlet in California. That's where I am. For $5.99. That means that I can let certain things slide. And I'm trying not to have too many gaps in my words and things like that. But for $5.99, I can overlook something like that. I can overlook defects and flaws for $5.99 because it's of no detriment to me. I just paid $5.99 for this guy. $19.99 on the other hand, that's when you run into a huge problem. Now, out of the 3 guys that I have, he was the only one that actually came with an accessory, which is actually pretty sweet. He came with this axe, which is really, really nice. You could easily have your Thor figure or your Odin figure or any sort of medieval figure that you have. If their hand is big enough, you could easily have them carry this. And this axe is pretty sweet. Let me put this guy back a little bit. This axe is pretty sweet. It's a long handle. It's got a handle here so you can put your finger or put the hand of the figure inside here. Like the axe looks good. Like it's painted well, but once again, I'm not a paint guy, so I really wouldn't know. I'm just going based off of how it looks to me. This axe is pretty sweet. And I'm glad that he came with it. I'm glad I have this now, because now I have another accessory for other figures. Detail-wise, this dude looks pretty good. He looks I should not realize I have leather jacket. He's big, he's foreboding, he's pale, he looks like Frankenstein almost. He almost has a Frankenstein-esque motif. Once again, I want to stress this. I can't stress this enough. I do not know anything about these Magic the Gathering figures. I am not hardcore enough into Magic to know where these come from or who these are. But that being said, from my perspective, he does have a very Frankenstein motif. Look on the back. I mean, he's even got this little accessory. I mean, he looks good. He's a hefty figure. He's thick. He looks tough. He looks like another figure that you would be able to. He looks like a bruiser. Another figure that you would be able to put up against like one of your more bruiser-esque type of figures, like a Thor, or Odin, or a Superman, or an Ares, or someone like, or Wonder Woman, even considering the movie is coming out soon. It's 2017, so the movie's coming out pretty soon. But you can put this guy up against any sort of like medieval-esque type of figure, and it goes. The thing is, when he did come in the box, he came with this one piece that it came to a spike and had additional hooks on it. I ended up cutting that off to get more articulation on the hand, and I think it looks better, in my opinion. But like I said, for $5.99, I can do that sort of stuff. If I would have paid $19.99, I wouldn't have done anything to this dude. Like I said, I pulled this off. He had a shoulder piece here, which you can see the knob there, the insert there for the piece. Pulled that off, so that way I could at least get some articulation out of this dude. Now, speaking of articulation, let's get into it. Now, his arms have really good articulation. 360 all the way around, get you out to about there on that one. Same thing here. Their armor is made of like this soft plastic, so you can actually stress that out a little bit to get the articulation you need, and it doesn't get in the figure's way. And that's one thing I really, really like. It has a bicep swivel that goes all the way around, but it's hindered by this netting or chainmail, this chainmail piece. It's hindered. It can spin, but it's just hindered by that. And as I've stated in the videos prior, these guys are made of bloody glass, and I don't want to bend or stretch or pull too much because I don't want these guys to break on me any more than they already do. They have he has a single joint elbow. He has a 360 hand that goes all the way around. He's got a hinge in there, so that way it gets you to about, let me stop spinning this guy. Gets you to about there, but as I've said before, I don't want to stress this guy out, so I'm going to hold off on certain things. He has a diaphragm deal in here, but it's so tight and it's so difficult to move. I don't want to do that because I don't want to break this guy. I really, really don't. He also has, his head can move 360. You can spin it all the way around. I don't really want to do it just for the same reasons I've expressed before. He does not have a waist twist here. No waist twist. What I did have to do is I had to modify it a little bit. So what I had to do is I had to cut here. I had to make an incision here, as you can see, in order to be able to get his leg to move outwards, like so. I had to make an incision there and here and here in order to cut the skirt enough where he can actually stand. Now we're getting to his legs. And in a prior video, I mentioned this. This guy is big. This guy is too big to have a double jointed leg like this. His leg is double jointed. Like I said, this armor can move. You can see the first joint there, and there's a second joint right inside here. This dude is too big for this. And I feel like if either one of these breaks, either one of these joints break, the leg is useless. This could have been a single jointed and that would have been fine. Would have been excellent. because he's not Spider-Man. He's not Spider-Man. He's not Scarlet Spider. He's not Ben Reilly. He's not any of those characters. His leg does not need to go back that far. But that being said, it can get you about that far back, double jointed. It gets you about this far up, because this is hindering the leg going up, and it goes about this far back because of the because of the buttocks sculpt here. So it gets you about that far back. I don't want to stress him out. Biggest problem I have about this guy. Biggest problem I have with this dude, and I'm gonna get into that right now, because that's what you want to hear. This dude retail price is $19.99, and I can't say that every one of this guy is gonna have this problem. Maybe it's just a case-by-case basis, or maybe it's just this dude and that's it. But if this is like an ongoing problem with this figure, I cannot, absolutely not recommend this dude for $19. I want you to take a look at this. Look at this leg. Sloppy jalopy. Look at that. Look at this. Luckily, I paid $5.99 for this guy. So no harm, no foul. This thing breaks, I'll just glue it on. There you go. His leg is stuck forever. No big deal. Oh yeah, by the way, before I continue, his other leg is double jointed too. No big deal, right? What? He stands fine now. Well, except right there. He stands fine now. But because of this sloppy jalopy deal here, his leg will slide. His leg will slide to whatever damn direction it damn well pleases, and he takes a header. So, I mean, that's a huge pet peeve, but for what I paid for him, I'm like, okay, you know what? I can't even complain about this, because I got him for cheap. I got him for cheap. I got him. Now, with this guy, he has a, it's not a swivel, but he's got his foot can go 360. He's got an ankle that can go back about this far, and an ankle that can go up this far. Now, this dude doesn't need to be making that many dramatic poses. He just doesn't. That's not the way this figure is made. That's not what you're trying to do with this guy. Before we continue, he can hold his axe pretty well, relatively. Yeah, which is fine. Turn him this way. His hand out there, like he's reaching for you. Manipulate him a little bit. See, that looks cool, right? Like, that looks cool. And that's what that's just that. At the end of the day, that's what I want. I just want a thing. I just want a functional toy. That's all I want. It's just a functional toy. And he's doing all right now. He's not acting up like he was before. Because before, this dude was taking shelf dives left and right. But he's not acting up right now. He's on his best behavior right now. But you know what? He's okay as a proxy figure. He's okay as cannon fodder. He looks big. He's imposing. He's good for what you're willing to pay for him. And I am not willing to pay $19 for this guy. Not him, not anybody in the line. Because first off, I don't know who any of these characters are. And secondly, I'm not going to pay this much for a statue. But that's my review on these three Magic guys. Hopefully you enjoyed them. Hopefully they were informal. You know, I don't want to make it seem like I'm knocking the company, because that's not what I'm doing. I'm not knocking the company. And I'm not just talking trash, because I don't want to be that kind of reviewer that just talks a bunch of shit about everything and points out all the flaws. But I love toys. I love figures. I love all this stuff. And I want my figures to work the way they're supposed to. I want my figures to look good. I want my figures to be photogenic. But most importantly, I want my figures to be functional. And if you are the kind of collector that keeps them in the box, or you like statues, then these I can highly recommend. They look good on the shelf. They look good in the box. They look good on the shelf, just standing there with all their gear on, not moving. They look fine. But if you are like me, and you want to play with these guys, you want to take photos of them, these aren't the guys for you. They're just not, unless you're a hardcore Magic fan. And these are the only people I can recommend those to. So, until next time, I got to think of a catchphrase to say, because signing out is tired, and I don't want to steal anybody's gimmick. So, I'll see you.